Seriously, if the average human attention span competes with that of a goldfish, Houston, we have a problem. Hey, well, hello and welcome. My name is Roger Courville, and welcome to what we're going to chat about today, a new book about captivating video book trailers. And my not so creative way of titling this little podcast episode is just exactly that. Welcome to another episode of Thought Leader Conversations, sponsored by the crew at Virtual Venues, who will work with you on very specific virtual event kind of use cases and help you meet your goals by taking the tech stuff off of your plate. But we're not here to talk about virtual venues. Today's guest is somebody that I've known for a long time, and I love this guy. But just catch a few of these stats. We're going to talk about his new book, but he's written 7 books. He's written 3,000 articles. He's been quoted in everything from the Wall Street Journal to the Financial Times. Been on covers of magazines like Speaker Magazine and Marketing, Media, and Money magazine. Welcome, Phil Gerbyshak.
Hey, Raj. How are you? It's great to see you, buddy.
Helps if I push the button. You know what? It is great to see you. It's been, I don't know, it's been way too long. So
it always is.
Fill in the blank gaps here. What else should we know about you with regard to the nature of what we're going to talk about today?
Well, I'm doing some work with my buddy Chuck Gallagher over at Primo Productions. And I told Chuck, I'm like, I've got a video book trailer. And it's really helped me sell my book. And he's like, hey, we do video book trailers. So you and I should write a book about video book trailers. And I said, well, what the heck? Let's do it. So here we are.
That's great. Well, I think the name is pretty clear. But just so that we're on the same page, how do you define video book trailers? Put a little packaging around that.
Well, if we think about a movie has a trailer, it's kind of got the highlights, but doesn't give away the whole plot. It gives away just enough, like a sample at Costco, that says, ooh, I want a little more, or you know what, this is not for me. I don't like it so much. So a video book trailer gives us 1 to 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes even, of that sample at Costco so that we can say whether or not we love a book or not, and that we're going to buy a book or not. And I got to tell you, because attention spans are short, video book trailers are the fastest way to get people's attention and the best way to sell your book, other than if you could actually do a speaking event, right? If that's number one. Let's be really clear. But this is a close second.
That is awesome. Well, let's put your deep experience in sales and marketing. Let's bring this down in a real pragmatic way for whoever might be listening. Let's talk about the anatomy of. Let's get to the anatomy of a video book trailer and what goes into it. But maybe let's even begin with the why. I mean, that's the attention span problem, the noise problem in terms of getting something out. I mean, a book is not a huge dollar ticket item, so you need something that cuts through attention, cuts through the attention problem. Tell me a little more. What is the kind of the market sense of how you package and position?
Well, first, your book has got to be a book that is worth reading. Let's be really clear. Some people write books. They just say, well, I've got to write a book. But if you write a book worth reading and you know who your target audience is, who are you writing the book for? A video book trailer is pretty simple. It's really an intro, it's an ending, and then a bunch of good stuff in the middle. And how does this work? Well, again, it's that whole sample mentality, but it grabs people's attention. If you're on a normal book page, it's got a flat picture of a book, it's got some lines of text, it's got maybe a testimonial or two, and it's okay. But really, if you could do better, if you could make it pop off the page, right? Because I've got hundreds of books behind me. None of those books, I mean, people might be looking like, ooh, I see one that I recognize, and ooh, my favorite color is orange, so therefore I see that color, and that's nice. But you can't judge a book by a cover, but you can often judge a book by its video book trailer. So that's why you need this. It gives people that chance to judge your book before they even buy it. And really, again, it gives them a chance to see what other people have said about the book. And if you do this right, it gives people a preview of the book without giving away all the guts of the book.
And just so you know, if you're listening, we're going to play one of Phil's book trailers here after, when it kind of makes sense in the course of the conversation. You can see exactly what it what it does. One of the things that I loved about yours, Phil, was unlike just putting one up on YouTube, which I'm sure probably is just fine. You actually had yours embedded into a particular web page that offered a few other features like hey, hit this button to comment or respond. And I
Yeah.
that's a useful tactic. Let's take advantage of embedding a button that says click to go to your favorite
Buy the
bookseller.
book to buy the book.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's really what the goal is. That's why we're doing this, right? I mean, I'm not doing this because video book trailers are fun. I'm doing them because they're profitable, right? And they help. And I can tell you, it helps aid in reviews as well because people see that and they're like, ooh, people aren't afraid to review the book. So I can put it on Amazon. I can put it on my website. I can put it on YouTube. I can put it on LinkedIn. I can put it on Facebook, right? I can use it in a lot of different ways. And really, that's the other key, Roger, is it isn't just a flat book trailer. It isn't just a video that I can share with my friends. You have to be brave enough to share this with everybody that you know across your socials multiple times. And I got to tell you, Raj, that's something I know that I need to work on because you can always share it more frequently. I'm not telling you to share it every day, but maybe once or twice a week would be okay. Knowing, again, as a marketing guy, that 5 to 10% of people only ever see each post you do. I mean, Raj, we're dear friends, and I don't see everything you post, and I know you don't see everything I post. And it's not because I'm not interested, it's because if it isn't in the feed, it doesn't get seen. So we have to make sure that it gets in the feed more.
Right. Yeah, I know that's one of the sad little realities with the socials, right?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
got I don't know 4,000 connections or something on LinkedIn, and I post something and it gets seen by 83 people or something.
Right. What the heck, right? But
Right.
that's opportunity to repeat yourself.
Right.
And repetition is a key component of marketing. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Even if people watch it once or twice, if it's good enough to be seen once, it's probably good enough to be seen a couple times. And eventually, if people watch it a few times, hopefully they're going to click that button and buy the book.
So let's talk about the anatomy of a
Sure.
captivating video book trailer. What are the core elements that we've got to really nail to make this work?
Well, first, we've got to have a story, a through line that tells the story beyond just the book, right? What's the through line of this? Is it the chapters of the book? That could be a through line. Is it the different actions that people can take throughout the book? That's one. It could be any of that. So let's start at the beginning, though. Bang, let's get people's attention. How do we do that first? And then bang, at the end, how do we get them to take action? In between there, we tell that story. Now, it isn't just Phil saying, hey, Roger, you should buy my book. It's really good. No, it's got a little bit of sneak peek of the cover of the book. It's got a little sneak peek of what other people have said about the book. It's got a sneak peek of what people have done as a result of the book or wish they'd done as a result of the book, right? It's got all of that put together with some testimonials and a little bit of story, a little bit of preview of the book so that they can get just enough that they want to buy the book. Now, all of that, right? You want to storyboard that out. This is not just magic where I just take my camera. This is not a one shot, one trick pony. You have to take the time to edit this very carefully and remove all the error so that each piece of this video book trailer is super polished and super powerful.
Recommended length? I know you before you 1 to 3
120
minutes.
to 180 yeah, 1 to 3 minutes, right? 120 to 180. Now that being said, if you can add a little bit more music so that people get excited, it's a little more theatrical, you could maybe go up to 4 minutes. But most of us can't make theatrical productions. It's one of the reasons why I love working with Primo Productions is they can make it theatrical. But I will tell you, they're going to make it even shorter than my book trailer is, because they want it to be even more powerful. Because the goal is not to get people to even watch the book trailer. The goal is to get people to buy your book.
Just out of curiosity, in fact, if you are, most people listen to this podcast rather than
Yeah.
watch visually. So we'll play yours toward the end, and they'll just have to listen if they're not actually
Yeah.
watching. But that said, I've put a link up on the visual here if you want to train your eye. And Phil, I know you said you both sell it on Amazon,
Yeah.
but somebody can get it for free. What's
Absolutely.
your strategy there?
Well, the strategy is I'd love to talk more with you. If I sell it on Amazon, I get I think Amazon gives me 70% of $4.99. So that's like $3. Let's call it $3. Okay. That's nice, but $3 is not even going to buy me barely a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Instead, I'd love to further the conversation. I'd love for you to download it at bit.ly/video book trailers PG for Phil Gerbyshak. I'd love for you to do that so we can continue the conversation, so that you can get an email from me with the link, and then you can get some follow-up emails about video book trailers so that you can get some more information. Maybe that's some of the examples that we used in the book. Maybe that's my video book trailer, right? Any of those, some features on how to further market it. Because honestly, a book is out of date almost the second it's printed. So I can give you some up to date information as we find stats, right? I mean, it's just the truth. So that's why we're doing it that way.
Nice. Yeah. And one of the things I appreciated in there were they QR codes
Yeah.
to go see some samples. So to me, that's probably worth the price of admission right there, particularly given it's free if they get it at your website. Importantly, because you'll see that there are different ways to approach this, and part of what I'm sure Phil and Chuck, are going to coach you on is how to bring out that which is your essence, right?
That's right.
Do you know AJ Coots at Storytelling?
Yeah, sure.
Right. So, I mean, using her as an analogy, right? She says it's not just a headshot; it's a story, and she's killer at bringing out what is interesting or unique about you and what you want to portray. And I think that's what I saw in the book trailers that I watched.
Good. Yeah, that is absolutely the goal, right? I want to bring out the essence of you and not just your book. I want you to come to life so that people get a hold of you, because here's a nice benefit of a video book trailer is they might even hire you to speak or to be on their podcast or to do some work with them just as a direct result of seeing your video book trailer, which is why it's worth the investment to make this happen with a professional.
Yeah, of the books that I've written, and I'd never heard of, when I was writing books, it's been a few years since I've written one, but I'd never heard of something like a video book trailer. And personally, that would have been my motivation. And I'll tell you why. I was quite fortunate that my first book sold really well because it was like the second book on webinars ever in the whole world. And it did really well for me. But I'll say this, I have enough of a marketing background to know that, particularly with a specialized topic, that I'm not going to sell enough books to make enough money to make it a thing, right? I'll give away books so that I can get the speaking engagement, because that's where that deep learning happens. Anyway, yeah.
Well, that's where the dollars happen, right? Let's be honest, right? If you're going to spend $2,000, $3,000 on a video book trailer, you need to get that money back. And how do you get that back? It's not by selling one book. It's by people hiring you to speak. It's by people hiring you to coach. It's by people hiring you to facilitate. That's how you make your money back.
One of the things that I actually figured out, or actually my accountant figured out, was that speaking and writing combination got taxed differently, right?
Yeah.
One is a service and one is a product, and they got taxed differently with regard to, I forget if it was self-employment tax or whatever like that. So I just started packaging books into every speaking gig, and people love getting a book at a speaking gig, right?
Yeah.
I don't personally go to sell books. I go because I want to help people, meaning I want everybody in the audience to have a copy of the book. But a video book trailer would have been a really unique way to bring that entry point, right?
That's right.
That's
That's right.
interesting.
And to get people to actually read the book. Right. Let's be clear. I want people not just to buy the book or get the book, but I want people to actually read the book and then take action on the book. That's the thing that a video book trailer does is they're like, ooh, this is so interesting that I should maybe actually open the book as opposed to just spending $20 and buying the book.
Yeah. Talk to me about visual storytelling, right? Because we're taking a medium that is generally, in a nonfiction sense, a print medium, and now we want to tell that story visually. I thought that was kind of an interesting way that you approached that in the book.
Yeah. So visual storytelling, right, is finding the right imagery and the right music, visual and audio storytelling, right? We want to have the right music, the right visuals, the right video to actually tell the story, not just the words. Again, what is the meaning and the substance behind the words that we have? It's really important to do that and really important to have a story that weaves its way through the book, in addition to the way that you weave the book. So it could be a bunch of the highlights. It isn't every highlight, it isn't every chapter, but there are certain ones that you want to bring out that tell a better story than others. Take the time to write those down. Think about, what's the imagery that I want to portray with this chapter, with this story? Who is my audience? What's going to resonate with them? And then what's the story? Again, write the through line, write the story, or have someone write the story for you, because it isn't the same as writing a book. It's a very different talent, right? It's almost like writing an advertisement, only not really an advertisement, right? It's really meant to be a teaser for the book. So but just like in movies, the person who produces and directs the movie often is not the person who produces and directs the trailer. Certainly it's their stuff, but it's shorter, it's snappier, right? And that storytelling is much more punchy
Right.
than it is in the book, because you don't have the time to read a whole chapter of the book. You don't have the time to go into great depth. So you have to be quicker, snappy, punchy, right? And that's what visual storytelling gets you.
Yeah. And I appreciated your script writing tips as well. Though I will say this: when a bunch of years ago, when explainer videos were kind of
Yeah.
a hot trend, I bought and read a couple books on by a couple of the leading thinkers at the time about explainer videos, and there's a deep level of psychology that goes
Yeah.
into the process of what you're talking about. How do we get them from point A to point B? What's that through line? But there's a very specific way to approach that I thought was very interesting. And to your point, it's very different than writing a book.
Yeah. Yeah. It's much more psychological. Writing a book is much more academic. So you have to understand the psychology of people. What gets them to be interested? What gets them to go? And not to mention, you're popping between idea like every 3 to 4 seconds, as opposed to in a book. You could write a chapter that's 10 or 12 pages long that might take somebody half an hour, and if it's really deep, could take them a lot longer than that. I mean, I'm talking to a guy on my show that is like the father of modern emotional intelligence. He wrote a dummies book that's probably, that I'm going to devour, but I'm still not going to understand it, right? That's the thing. And I wish he had a video book trailer for that book, because that would help me a lot.
One of the things that I loved about yours, and the one that we'll play here in a moment, was how you used your own advice with regard to one of the things that you put in the book about incorporating feedback. Curious, how did you go about getting those testimonials? Let's be practical on that. How did you contact, shoot the little video? Were they just sitting in front of their webcam?
Yeah, some were right in front of their webcam, some were on their phone, right? But practically, let's start with ask. The ask was very specific. Hey, Scott Lesnick, you said you like this chapter of the book. Would you give me a testimonial on this chapter of the book? Hey, Ann Bonnie, you had some suggestions for me would you shoot that as a testimonial? And with Anne, actually, we did Zoom, and I just turned off my camera and I put just her on camera and I recorded that way, right? And then I gave it to the editor and they edited it out. So that was the, and then certainly I remember to follow up with a thank you for the book because they'd already bought the book. Let's be really clear. They'd already bought the book. So that feedback was kind of post the book. But I will tell you, if somebody had shared something in their feedback in that video that they said, hey, you know what, this resonated with me and I wish you'd have gone deeper, I probably would have rewrote that chapter and made it go even deeper. Taking feedback, really important. Might not have changed the book trailer, but it certainly might have changed the book.
Interesting. What questions should someone be asking in terms of they potentially are interested in doing a video book trailer? They talk to you or Chuck. What are the right questions to ask? What should people ask that they don't typically ask?
Well, first, they should ask to see some of the book trailers. They should want to see that those book trailers feel like them. Not that they're, because honestly, results is different, right? Some people could say that a book trailer sold an extra 500 or 1,000 books. That's nice. Some people could say, you know what? This has helped me land several speaking engagements. That's great. But honestly, it could make you feel good about the fact that you wrote a book. So figure out, how does this feel? How does this feel? And then maybe ask for the contact information, the people that did that, so they can talk to you about the process. Maybe it's too painful for you and you don't want to do it. Maybe you just want to push it all in the center and you just want to give it all up. So you got to find someone. What's your process? How do you do this? How many edits? How many rewrites are you able to do? Now, the word unlimited, some people say unlimited, but what does unlimited really mean? It means until I get sick of working with you. Let's be honest, right? Because at some point, I'm going to get sick of working with you. You're going to get sick of working with me, and we're just going to give up. So I want to hear, how many rewrites do you do before you even give me the first draft? Really important. So those are some of the questions that I would ask. And then again, right, with those samples, can I talk to the people that shot those book trailers? Can I talk to those people? So we purposely in the book did not include my book trailer. We used 3 that had worked with Chuck before because Chuck is the expert. Chuck and the team at Primo are the experts, right? I know how important they are, but they're the ones that write the script. They're the ones that shoot the videos. You could even come in. That's the cool thing, is you could even come into the studio in Greenville, South Carolina, if you wanted to, and you could bring people in, have them do that, or we could just interview them for you and do that as well. So find out how much of the work you have to do as the author and how much of the work do you want to do. So have that conversation. Those are the important questions that I would be asking.
Sweet. Well, set up. So the video book trailer we're about to watch is not the one for the ebook that we're talking about right here. It's for a different one of Phil's books. Set this up. What should we be looking for?
So the title of the book is $0 Consultancy. So check. Can you see the book? Can you see the cover of the book? That seems pretty obvious, right? Can you see the book? That's the first question. 2, is everything clear? Like, does it make sense to you as you're listening, as you're watching it? And then 3, I would ask you, what energy do you get from the book? What energy do you get from the book? And I'm not going to tell you what energy I was going for. We'll talk about that after the fact. But Roger, let's watch and listen to the trailer.
Here we go.
I really wish that I had $0 consultancy when I started my business.
Boy, do I wish I had his book back then.
I wish I had this book when I first started my business.
How to capture referrals. You know, especially in my business, if I've got referrals from people who already like the work that I'm doing and they're telling their friend, why didn't I know that from the beginning? If I had known that from the beginning, that would have been a whole lot easier.
Just the chapter on the free tools is worth the price of the book. In fact, there's a couple I hadn't heard of that I'm looking at right now.
What's the big takeaway of this for you as a business owner? If you want to understand how to leverage your network today, it's just an ask away. When you ask people who are passionate about what you do and who care about their network, they're happy to connect like-minded people together. They understand that they can bring value to their network by bringing these chains that much closer. So go ahead, take a look at your network, because it's not who you know, but it's who you know knows that could impact your business.
Asking for testimonials, that's something I can do a better job at, and I do know that those are gold, but sometimes I'm a little apprehensive to ask for them. I'm not going to be anymore because I know how important those are. So Phil Gerbyshak, thank you. This is quite a good book. It was enlightening, and it showed me some things that I can definitely do better.
Sweet.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Kind of like you
that always makes
don't
me
know what
smile.
you're talking about or something.
Maybe, right? Maybe. So think about that. Roger, what kind of energy did you get from that trailer?
Well, here in my studio, I'm kind of a sound geek. You can tell by the guitars hanging on the wall behind me and whatever. And so I've got a THX, pretty high quality audio system with subwoofer, and it was thumping. I love it.
Woohoo! That's great, man. That's what I love to hear, right? And I think it's something different for everybody. The sound quality, I think, is super important. You want to make sure that it's clear. And my goal with the energy was to get some of my energy, right? I'm a high impact, kind of high energy kind of guy. Are those testimonials, are they high energy too? Is the music bopping in your ear a little bit, right? Are you kind of bopping along? Are you playing in your chair, right? That's the goal. That's what I was trying to get. And then, if you buy the book, that's cool. But if nothing else, you see that. Now, of course, right, I would make some changes after I've seen it 100,000 times. I would change, right? I would put a little bit more of who I am, the fact that I do speaking, the fact that I do training, the fact that I do facilitation. I would probably add that in there if I'm looking to sell more of me. But for selling the book, I'm very happy with the trailer.
Yeah. Well, and number one Amazon bestseller. So
it worked. 35 reviews, great testimonials, and a great thing that will live on long after the book is gone.
Phil, what question should I have asked you that I have not asked you?
Well, we didn't talk too much about price, right? Because I think price is an important question. How much should you invest in a book trailer? Well, you kind of get what you pay for. You could find them on Fiverr for probably $500. You could find them super high end for probably $10,000. I would probably look to spend somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000 on a book trailer. That would be a question that I would have asked.
Well, I thought about that, and then I thought, you know what? I think I won't. I'll let you bring it up. True story. And here's why. Because I mentioned earlier my investigation into explainer videos, and at the time, as part of Software Association of Oregon, and one of the main sponsors of our association events was an agency, and they were going for $20,000 a pop for explainer, 1.5 90-second explainer video. And I realized that you get what you pay for, right? Because it wasn't that long after that there was like software out there that would let you move a few cartoon characters around, and I tried it. It just wasn't. I just didn't have the chops, and for me, I realized that it was a bit like changing the oil in my car. Do I have the skill? Can I do it? Yes. Does it make sense? Well, I can go to Oil Can Henry's and for $30 later, I'm out the door. No, my time was worth more than my money. The one other thing that came to mind with me with regard to thinking about this kind of an investment would be relative to the expected impact that you have with regard to the book, right? Is this a book about the next election and it's going to be on the shelf for 8 months and then it's done? Or is this a book that has some staying power and you're going to use this book for the next bunch of years? And, that to me could make all the difference. So,
yeah, absolutely. Asking yourself what the goals are for your book, for me, would determine whether or not I want to invest in a book trailer. Absolutely. My book is something that I'm very proud of, right? My $0 consultancy, great book, I think, because it is all the stuff to get started in your consulting business. That's probably not going to change a whole lot over the next 3 to 5 years. It's not meant to, right? It's not meant to change. That being said, if it does, I might have to do a completely new edition. But you'll see that the book, though, it will always take you to the Amazon link. So that is something else, right? If you can get them to include the buy button there, that's another thing that you should ask about.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I appreciated about that example that you sent, because unlike a YouTube video where I'm hoping that they go physically type something into to their search bar at Amazon, there's a very direct call to action that was enabled right there. Well, Phil, I really appreciate you taking a little time on your Monday morning here and providing some enlightenment. I know one of the challenges that people have with book marketing in general is that I need to move books one way or another. I need to move books, whether it's to make money from the book or make money from the other things like speaking, training, consulting that might fall out of that. But either way, I need to move books. And I just, to the point that you made at the top of the show, being able to do something like this relative to just a flat page on your website, pretty potent.
Thanks. Yeah, I think so too. And again, you can send this along to the people that are in charge of the event so that they can see whether or not they really want books. That's the thing. It is not just a book trailer, it's a decision trailer. It can help people make decisions. So I absolutely encourage folks, if you're thinking about it, make the investment, make it happen, whether you work with us at Primo or whether you work somewhere else. I mean, I absolutely recommend that you do a video book trailer.
Phil, tell us again how to get the book for free.
Sure. If you go to bit.ly/video book trailers PG, that's all in lowercase. That's bit.ly/video book trailers PG. That'll get you right to the book for free. Or if you want to spend $5, feel free to go to Amazon and look for the book. Just search for my last name, Gerbyshak.
Well, Phil, thank you for taking a little bit of time. And I hope people do come get your book, because I know I've known the work that you put out for a lot of years, and it's a delight to have you on the show. I appreciate you taking the time. And we will have Phil will probably be back on the show at some point in time, so keep an eye out there if you're curious. Thank you again to our sponsor today, Virtual Venues, where you can instantly scale your virtual and hybrid event production team. And we will catch you on the next episode of Thought Leader Conversations.